Well, hello everybody. This is Making again, and today we've got the wonderful Jaime Cohen with us, and she's just going to join us shortly. There we are.
Hello.
How are you, Jaime?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for asking. Now, a little later on, we've got you talking about the power of LinkedIn video during uncertain
Yes.
times. I love that title.
Thank you.
Now, before we go on and talk about that, for anybody who is not aware of who you are, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell the world a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. Well, I am Jaime Cohen. I am a communication coach and trainer, and I work with individuals and organizations to help them amp up their communication skills. So this means learning how to tell better stories, how to connect more deeply, how to build stronger relationships, to negotiate, and to deal with conflict. So my whole thesis of everything that I do is to help people connect in such a way that they're able to get the things that they want and also provide the things to their audience or to the person they're speaking with that they really need to form that deep connection.
Now, what I heard there was communication.
Yes.
How important is that right now more than ever?
It's more important now than ever because we're all stuck at home for the most part. And especially with relationships. I mean, I was lucky to already be working from home before this. And my husband and I have been working from home together for the past few years. So we've gotten very accustomed to communicating our needs and understanding the need for space and these sorts of things. Whereas a lot of people got smashed together and they're used to seeing each other at the end of the workday and having time to decompress alone and go to the gym and do whatever it is they have to do. And now then for a lot of people, then kids are thrown into the mix too. So now you really have to learn how to communicate and create boundaries, which is a huge part of what I teach people to do, because in order for us to function at our optimal level, we need to be able to tell people what we need. And part of that is understanding what our boundaries are and how to explain those. So if you are at home and you're working and your partner's working and you're trying to also get your kids to go to school, you need to make it clear to everybody what needs to happen, what everyone needs to do to function most appropriately. And also, of course, everyone is human, so not everything is always going to follow a strict schedule. So what do you do when things change, when things don't go the way that you planned?
Right. And so, what's going in my head at the moment is I don't know if you, well, I'm sure you do remember where there was an advocate for, I think it was a Korean ambassador,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking on Zoom video, and then suddenly his children were sort of, coming in at the back, and then his wife had to pull him out of the, and this is where communication, you talked about communication and boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what would, with companies that are, all the employees are at home now, or the businesses are at home. How do we, what are the few simple steps that people can take in order to create those boundaries and to communicate better
Within their companies or within their families or both?
Well, I guess with both, because the title is the power of LinkedIn video during uncertain times.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it would start with communicating with your family first before you're actually branching out onto your business. Would you say?
Absolutely. I think when you have children, you can only go so far when it comes to creating certain boundaries, depending on the age of the children. So, for instance, with this Korean ambassador, maybe sitting down before all this happens and having a family talk versus just saying, a lot of times when parents are busy, they'll just say, well, I need to do this particular thing. Make sure you stay out of this room, but you don't explain what's at stake. So instead, sitting down with the kids and saying, I love spending time with you, and it's going to be hard for me to be in the other room when I know everyone else is going to be playing and having fun, but this is very important for me, and you have to make sure that under no circumstances do you come into the room. And then they'll say, well, what if I need you? What if something bad happens? And then saying, well, your mom or your dad or your older sister or your cousin or whoever it is there. go to them during this 1 hour that I need to be alone. And afterward, if you really need to tell me, just wait a little while and we'll be able to talk right when I'm finished. And then also have a backup plan with the other. Hopefully there's another adult in the household to say, if the kids are coming my way, here, make sure that you're stationed in a particular spot so that they're not entering the room. And then also, if you are a single parent, there's only so much that you can do. So maybe mention to your audience or to whoever's in the meeting that, hey, my kids are a little rowdy today. I've done my best to get them in the other room. They are small. So if you see some little faces popping in, I apologize in advance if they're a little bit loud. I'll do what I can to make sure that this runs smoothly.
Wonderful. Now, I noticed you have a hashtag there, the right words.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the right words is the name of my company, and something that I focus on with everyone that I work with is how to find the right words for them. And this doesn't mean finding the perfect words, because a lot of people will say, well, I want to make sure that I say the perfect thing, that I am heard in the exact perfect way, but it's not about being perfect. It's not about putting on a show, but rather finding the words that are going to fit best for you, finding a way to tell your story in a way that is going to resonate with your audience. And so that is what I'm doing. I'm helping people find the words that they need to communicate their issues, their stories, their hopes, their dreams, and all of these things together to get the things that they want.
Okay. And so, you talked about not being perfect, and it is, so does that mean that, when you are on video, does it mean it's okay to, I don't know, for example, follow your words, or having, you've dropped a pencil or something like that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's, the more human you are, the more people are going to connect with you. And I know I personally, yesterday I was doing a lunch and learn with Jen and Mike, and I was coughing up a storm because there are fires out here in Colorado right now. And so I stopped for a second. I said, excuse me, this is what's going on. Just providing people context. And I mean, we're all human. We're all going to, we have our limitations when it comes to being perfect, because I feel like that's an unattainable goal. And when we're providing context for why we're doing what we're doing, or if we drop a pen and we need to pick it up, that's fine, because it makes people realize, oh, this person is just like me. And if you are trying to attain perfection and putting on a performance, then you become unreachable. See, I tripped over my words. You become unreachable, and you seem less, you're less able to have your words resonate with the people who are watching you, because they may be comparing themselves and saying, well, how could I ever achieve that sort of perfection? But instead, if you're on video doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, and then also making it clear that you're not perfect, people will be able to connect with that and say, oh, I have done that before, or, oh, that's fun. I felt embarrassed when that happened to me, and this person did that with such grace, so now I feel better about myself. And that's the whole point of connecting, is showing people that you're just like them.
And I really like the post that your point that you made earlier, that you're based in Colorado, and there's fires going on, and so you had to cough, and by putting it in context, it makes you more human and more relatable. If you try to sort of make an excuse or something, then I guess that people would. I actually saw a post on Twitter this morning where a particular news piece was broadcast, and COVID wasn't mentioned, and it seemed really incredulous that you wouldn't mention that. So I think that was a really good point that was raised there. So you're going to be talking about the power of LinkedIn video a little later. Can you share a little insight, maybe a little sneak preview of what you're going to be covering a little bit later on?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I just wanted to mention, going back to what we were just talking about, is whenever I'm in a situation where I'm not feeling totally 100% or totally comfortable, or if I mess up my words quite a bit, the thing that I always like to mention, or just even in my own mind, is I'm doing the best that I can. Give me some grace because I'm not perfect. And just mentioning those things just reminds people that, yeah, you are who you are and you're doing the best that you can. But I'm going to what I'll be talking about later this afternoon is how we can feel more connected and feel like we have more power right now in situations where a lot of us feel powerless, whether it's with social justice issues or whether it's feeling isolated because of COVID, or whether it's seeing what's going on with the environment and feeling like we don't really have the power to make any moves. Video gives you the power to make such an incredible difference. And I talk, and I say incredible a lot in my in my session. So there you can find something where I am saying something repeatedly. But I found that I was feeling a little bit hopeless when it came to social justice issues. And I talk a little bit about what I did using a series I have called Find Me Friday on LinkedIn to really get hooked more into helping Black voices be heard and to feel like I was doing something that was making a difference. So the whole session is going to talk about how you can get more comfortable on camera, how you can make a difference with video, and why, of course, today is all about LinkedIn, why LinkedIn is the place that you should be.
Wonderful. So, thanks for sharing, Deb, and it's lovely to see Stephanie as well. If anyone is thinking of getting started on video, what would you say would be the first thing that they could, take action from?
Absolutely. Don't worry about getting all of the gear. Don't worry about spending thousands of dollars getting the perfect video, light, action setup. Just use your phone and make sure that you have sound is so much more important than the clarity of the video. People think it's the other way around, but statistically speaking, people are more likely to watch a video that's a little garbled but has clear sound than the other way around. And I mean, you can always have subtitles, but if someone is listening to the video, they want clear sound. So focus on feeling comfortable, doing whatever you have to do to be able to take a deep breath and talk to the camera like you're talking to a friend. And I know Stephanie is talking today about how to be irresistible on camera. So that might be a great session for you to check out also. But yeah, just focus on learning how to feel comfortable and confident on camera, how to take a deep breath, how to feel like you're talking to a friend when you're talking to the camera, and make sure that your sound is clear.
I love that. I love how you say, you feel like, to try and talk as if you're talking to a friend. I mean, because I think that a lot of people do put barriers upon themselves, don't they? About, suddenly they're talking on camera, if they feel that they need to be, perfectionist and, they need to be perfect. And you talked about that earlier. And there's some great comments coming here just now. Are there, do you want to expand on that a little bit more about, how to talk as if you're talking to a friend? I really like that. I wanted to expand
Absolutely.
on that.
So I think that a lot of people, and I think including myself when I first started doing video years and years ago, you get on camera and you feel this need to perform. You are worried about how your voice sounds. You're worried about how your face looks. Like, is there something on my face I'm even looking and saying, did I do my makeup properly? Like, what's going on here? But instead, just let go of all of that and think about what would it feel like if you were having this conversation with a friend. When imagine the eye of your camera as the eye of a friend. And for some people, that still isn't enough. So one thing that I recommend, and I expand upon a little bit more in my session today, is how to turn your camera into your friend. And so one thing that I suggest is, if you have the opportunity to have a friend or a family member sitting behind the camera so that you can look at them when you're speaking to them, and then it's in the eye line of the camera, so you feel a lot more comfortable and calm. And then when to your viewers, you look like you are looking directly into the camera. And then that feeling of conversation and less of the performance comes into play. And if you don't have the opportunity to have a friend in the room, take a picture of your friend, your family member, whomever, and put it next to your camera. So even though it's a picture, it still allows you to relax a little bit because your energy is directed at that person versus at this object that isn't giving you any sort of feedback. And as humans, we function best when we're getting feedback. So if we can do something to trick our brain into thinking we're getting that feedback, that allows us to feel more connected. And again, it's all about practice. Another thing that I suggest is just taking short videos of yourself every single day. So whenever you're thinking about something, or if someone asks you a question, record an answer to that question on video. And it could just be a 10, 15-second video. And the more practice you get, the more comfortable and confident you'll get also.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, there was just so many tips that you left right at the end there. You know, we don't want to give everything away, otherwise people won't come to your sessions. So thank you so much for your time, Jaime. So many great tips there. Do go and check out Jaime's session a little later on. Definitely go and check out Stephanie's keynote at the end of the session there. Thank you so much for your time, Jaime. That was just so useful. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the Sociable Summit.
Thank you for having me. And yes, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the sessions today.
Thanks for your time.